You need to do some After Effects. You need to have little clouds parting.
Okay, this is the board that I've been waiting for, JJ. This is the workstation motherboard, so the X99-E WS.
That's right. Yes, you're entirely right. This is a workstation-oriented board. This is a board that's really focused for prosumer users, users that are probably looking to first work on their system before they're looking to play. Right.
Right.
I mean, at the same time, it makes a fantastic system for general productivity and even for high-end gaming.
Get me
Just-
Star Citizen on this.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
just
waiting
because
for.
of the massive PCIe slot expansion, the the awesome build quality, and everything about this board. It can equally fit in other environments, but the spec, like always, of what we try to incorporate on the WS is really targeted towards users that are looking for massive expansion, looking for reliability, and looking for a lot of connectivity. And again, the aesthetic is entirely different than all the other boards in the other lineup. I mean, here it carries a really kind of almost monolithic kind of design, which I think looks fantastic. But it's got kind of like this, I think, kind of like recessed aggressiveness to it, you know what I mean?
Right.
Where it's not kind of like super in your face, but as you kind of get into the board, you really see a lot of kind of design details and design cues that have been put in there. First, really adhere to a lot of functionality more than aesthetic. One classic example of that is if you take a look, there's a massive amount of heat pipes throughout this motherboard, right? So we've got the heat pipes that go directly from across of the VRM assembly, so the MOSFETs and the drivers extending out with the heat pipe going into another open-faced heatsink assembly, and then we've got another heatsink assembly over here, which then goes into the bottom portion here of the PCH, which is also cooling the additional PLX-based units, and then we've got another heatsink. And with this unit, you can see that it's really all about fin surface area because fins give you the best thermal performance. So this is an awesome board to be able to ensure that everything is kept cool and reliable, especially under long periods of load, right? Because that's what a content professional or a hardcore gamer is going to be looking at is a system that's
Right.
going to be running
Just
6, 8,
all
10,
day.
12 hours for a very long period of time. So in that, of course, if we talk about, the overall performance capabilities, WS doesn't compromise on the power delivery and design. The board carries over a huge amount of the design characteristics from Z97. We've got the 12K rated capacitors, so pretty much the industry leading base design in terms of
It's at
their
12K, right? So
Yeah.
that's step up.
yeah, they're even higher end than what we offer on the Deluxe, and the Deluxe is already a beast. So
Right.
you're getting even a longer longevity, and you're getting superior thermal characteristics where they operate, of course, even at higher temperature tolerances and lower temperature tolerances. We've got the Blackwing chokes right there. Those are the highest level performing chokes that pretty much are out there. They're extremely high performance, and they have outstanding thermal efficiency characteristics. So once again, the board can push the X series parts to the absolute peak of what they can allow for, and at the same time, if you just want to focus on efficiency, you're going to get great thermal efficiency and great power delivery. So power delivery is unquestionably a beast here on the WS board. For power connectivity, this board also features the ProCool power design. So if you remember on the Z97 series, where that means that the contacts actually on there, they're thicker gauge, so that allows for actually better contact, better electrical flow, lower thermal actually characteristics at the point of contact. So that's going to be for the CPU pins, for the 24 pin, and also for the PCI Express. So those are actually improved upon. We might be able to get some tighter B-roll in there, and you can take a look and see
Get some good shots of the back.
how improved they are in that respect. So moving on kind of from there, we've got a lot of connectivity. The board's got stacked fan headers. This is just like the Deluxe, where it's got 6 onboard fan headers. They all feature FanXpert 3 fan control, so that means every single fan header gives you the ability to do 3-pin and 4-pin, so DC and PWM control. You have temperature input mapping, so you can map it to different sources like the CPU or the motherboard or the PCH or the VRM. And it also supports the fan extension hub module. So this is a fantastic extension module. So for users that are looking to build high performance workstations, and cooling is extremely important, especially if you got tons and tons of graphics cards or expansion devices or storage devices. You can add 3 more additional fans. They all support the same level of control that's on the motherboard, and it's all tunable within the UEFI or in the operating system. So you still get calibration, DC, PWM support, and you also get additional temperature input sources. So those temperature input sources can be mapped not only to those fan headers, but also to the fan headers on the motherboard. So that's awesome there. Now, if we take a look at terms of the connectivity up here at the top, if we maybe see if we can try to kind of rotate that there maybe a little bit, but you've got 2 front USB 3 ports.
2 of them. All right.
So you got more than enough connections. So for the highest end chassis that have 4, or card reader, which is great for content professionals, you got to always transfer stuff from your SD cards or compact flash cards, right, or front USB 3. From there, here you got the Easy XMP switch. You've also, of course, got the Dr. Power, which is a great option to be able to monitor and measure how much the power draw is coming through your system to be able to ensure stability. And you can receive notifications in AI Suite to help you know if something's going wrong there in terms of what you're pulling against your power supply. You got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 total SATA ports on the board, so just unbeastly connectivity for storage array configurations. And of course, down here at the bottom, you've got the SATA Express, so you've got 2 SATA Express based connections for upcoming SATA Express based devices. Now, for you guys that want to, of course, rock that highest level of performance in terms of the SSDs, you got the M.2 all the way down here, which is in a really nice location. This is a larger board than, of course, the ATX specification based deluxe board. But you can still see, even in relation to where we've got all the PCIe slot expansion, we're not compromising the PCIe slot expansion by forcing the M.2 within that same space. So you've got that off-center there, and you can support up to the 2280 modules, so the biggest M.2 based options there. You got Thunderbolt support easily there at the bottom, so if you want to go ahead and throw in something like the Thunderbolt EX2 card.
That's an additional purchase?
Correct. Doesn't come included in the box. You're good to go. You got USB 2 headers down there in your set. You got the EPU, so that if you want to run stock, but you want to be able to reduce power consumption, have better thermal performance, you can do that. You got the TPU switch, so for one-touch overclocking, bam, you can go ahead and just quickly set that, and you're good to go. But a bigger update here is also if we took a look at the sound. Historically, the WS hasn't featured our full kind of isolated sound design, but for this generation, we went ahead and incorporated it in. So you pretty much get the same class of design that we put onto the deluxe motherboard. Full audio isolation, shielded audio codec, operational amplifier, the DTS profiling packages for music, movies, and games, as well as DTS Connect for the optical output. The only difference will be is that we don't have the Nichicon audio grade capacitors, so there's a slight little reduction there, but that's because we maintain the higher quality 12K rated capacitors because it's a workstation oriented product. Now, outside of that, of course, when we move over into the PCIe slot expansion, you can see that that's really one of the highlights of this board, right? I mean, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 physical by 16 slots on this board. So whether you're going to be running 1, 2, 3, 4 GPUs, a single GPU, RAID card, sound card, HDMI capture cards, whatever it's going to be, you're good to go. And that's a hallmark. A lot of people wonder about, well, what's one of the big differences on WS? It's also going to be option around validation, right? So for those complex RAID controllers, PCI SSDs, we do extensive validation to be able to make sure those devices work correctly with this type of board. And if we rotate that out, and we take a look here at the back I/O, you can see that you've got a ton of back I/O connectivity. You got the USB BOS flashback, so you can go ahead and update the UEFI. No CPU, no memory, no graphics card, just the power. You've also got the logging function, so you got that quick code logger, so that if you want to be able to go ahead and find out any issues with your system posting, you can go ahead and save that directly to a flash drive. So that's really nice because with a complex system like this, if you run into a problem, then being able to reference that information is great. You got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 total of USB 3 ports on there, with support also for USB 3 boost and USB Charger Plus for quick charging smartphones and tablets. eSATA is there because still in the kind of the prosumer, the content creation community, we see people using like external sans digital enclosures or things along those lines, so that gives you flexibility for that. And then you've got dual Intel gigabit Ethernet ports on there, including an L series, which is designed for server grade OSs.
All right.
So all the way around, you've got pretty much the flagship class in terms of networking controllers that are on this board. And it also still comes included with the TurboLAN software, so that if you did want to do prioritization for gaming purposes or for just even browsing or downloading other things like that, you can go ahead and do that as well. So overall board is, significantly packed to the gills. It's an awesome board. Fits just about any usage, and just like the Deluxe, one really cool thing is that this one comes with the full 5-way optimization technology too. So if you want to be able to have access to the FanExpert 3 fan controls in the OS, and you want the 5-way tuning technology, so we have auto tuning, which will dynamically auto overclock for your CPU, your cooling, your memory, your power supply. You can entirely do that too. So along with the rest of all the software suites, and we'll be demoing some of that stuff too.
You guys will be seeing a video on that. You should be seeing a video on that if you click on the links that are on the screen right now. Is there anything else we need to cover before we do the outro?
I think that's it, man. It's just it's a beast of the board, and definitely I think for you guys, definitely don't undervalue the capability of what the WS has to offer. It's unquestionably a feature-backed board. About the only thing that it's missing compared to maybe like the Deluxe is probably going to be the integrated Wi-Fi. The Deluxe comes included with the 3x3 wireless with the Bluetooth based functionality, but otherwise, this is a monster board. Great great for guys that are looking for just tons of expansion and a really stable platform.
Yeah, this is probably the one I'm going to pick up.
Yeah. One note I will say sometimes people forget is the warranty is a little bit different also on WS. All the boards have a standard 3-year warranty, and they also have advanced RMA replacement, which means that we can replace the board without you sending in the defective board. But WS actually adhere to our ARS warranty policy, which means the process of the actual RMA is guaranteed executed within 24 hours.
Nice. All right, so that's the WS for people who are ready to get serious about productivity, and also you can get serious about games on this too.
Oh, for sure.
And the other motherboards that we are going to be covering, Deluxe and also the ROG motherboard. So go ahead and click on the screen to check out those videos, and be sure to check out the technology overview video that covers the software and just the special features that are exclusive to the Asus motherboard. So click on the screen and check all that out, and we will see you guys in those videos.